Lagos.
Good to have you in here. All right, so first of all, the stock market yesterday down by 0.53%. 31,178 points is where we close. Red Star Express was our top gainer, up by 10%, 550 covers where they closed. Nemeth International Pharmaceuticals down by 10%, they closed at 63 cover. Nigerian Breweries, Zenith, GTB, Access, Dangote Sugar, a number of these stocks are part of why the market fell yesterday. On a side note, Apple released their Q1 2019 results. Remember, Tim Cook gave a warning a few weeks ago that their sales had dropped. I think sales in China dropped about 27%. But the one thing that I did see that jumped out, Apple's cash on hand, Valentine, is $245 billion. That's in cash. Meanwhile, we have 42 billion in our reserve. I think Apple has more cash than almost every African country combined.
Have you removed the debt?
It's no. This is raw cash.
I'm talking
raw.
about Nigeria.
Oh yeah, exactly. If you take out euro bonds and number of things,
What is left?
Okay, Lagos. This is actually going to be. We're going to deviate a bit on the show today. We want to look at a report. We're talking healthcare. We're actually going to be focusing on the health sector today. So Wede and I are going to be discussing the national survey on drug use and health that was released by the National Bureau of Statistics. It was in collaboration with the Center for Research and Information on Substance Abuse, CRISA. They actually they were founded in Jos in 1990, as well as technical support from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, the UNODC. This report was actually funded by the European Union. I did not know this. Under the 10th European Development Fund, the EDF, as part of the UNODC's implemented project Response to Drugs and Related Organized Crime in Nigeria. So remember, there was a time when, in fact, our unemployment numbers, I think, remember when the Statistician General, Dr. Yemi Kali, said that there wasn't any funding to release.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We've always had that problem with statistics in Nigeria.
Exactly.
We don't have like adequate reports
Right.
on key issues.
It's an incredible thing. So thank you, European Union, for helping out with this. This is the first comprehensive nationwide national drug survey that has been conducted in Nigeria. As far as the figures, just to let people know how they actually did this, they spoke to 38,850 households, so almost 40,000 households. They then extrapolated the data from there and then came up with a number of these figures. So where do we start from? How about we start from the I guess the overall figure of the number of folks that have been affected, right?
Okay, so in the past year, the report read that 14.4%.
Right.
They took a sample basically, and in that sample, 14.4% of 14.3 people
Right.
that are aged between 15 and 64 years old,
Right.
had instances of drug abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the drug use in Nigeria has. And this excluded alcohol. So
Right.
it was
Yes.
basically
Thank you for mentioning that.
there was no alcohol.
Alcohol was not
So it was
reviewed.
it was just basically hard drugs, cannabis, heroin, cocaine, pharmaceutical drugs like tramadol and cough syrups that were included in the survey. So then the mostly 24 to 39-year-olds were found had the instance of drug abuse.
The age group, right?
The age group,
Yeah.
yes. So that was also reported.
And another thing, so we're looking at 14% for the country, yeah? They compared this with the 2016 global annual prevalence of any drug use at all.
That's all, yeah.
And that came out to what? It was
5.6%.
5.6%. So, I mean, we have a drug problem, right? We have a major problem. Let me actually break down these figures here. So, total use, you're looking at 14.3 million. Cannabis, as you mentioned, the figures were 10.6 million. I mean, these are numbers that can actually fill up an entire state. 10.6 million for cannabis. Opioids was 4.6 million. Of course, opioids are used for, I think, pain relief or something. Pharmaceutical opioids, you've already mentioned that. Tramadol, codeine, morphine, 4.60 million. It was 4.61 for the opioids. Pharmaceuticals was 4.60. Let's see now. Cough syrups 2.3 million, tranquilizers and sedatives 481,000, cocaine 92,000, heroin 87. What about the breakdown by gender? I believe it was men were outnumbering women by what was it? What was the figure again? What did they come out with?
So men were 7 times more likely to use drugs like cannabis. For pharmaceutical drugs like tramadol, codeine, morphine, tranquilizer, like, as you've mentioned.
Yeah.
Also, men were also more likely to use these drugs. But 1 in 4 drug users in Nigeria was also is also a woman.
So okay.
According to the report. So the gender, looking at gender specifics, definitely men were using more
than women.
Yeah.
Also, high risk drug users, I think the figure they came out with was 376,000. We're talking about the extreme end of people injecting themselves and using, really, really hardcore uses of drugs here. They've said abuse, yeah, as far as the abuse is concerned, you're right. Thank you for thank you for that correction. Nearly 1/4 of high-risk drug users have been arrested for a drug-related offense during the course of drug use, while the majority, 73%, have been arrested for possession and also been arrested for burglary, shoplifting, and theft. 73%. So you now want to bring in unemployment into this picture when you look at those figures. Treatment and access to treatment, whether that was something else that came up in this report. Yeah.
So I think, like, basically this is why more reports like this need to be done, so we know how alarming the numbers are, so that the government can put in more facilities in healthcare, health insurance, to cater for people that are exposed to drug abuse. Exactly. In terms of rehabilitation centers, stigmatization, and proper access to getting better, basically we don't really have enough facilities for this. I was comparing, when I saw the statistics, I compared to South Africa. South Africa in 2015-2016 had 15%. We have 14.4. They had 15% drug use in their reports.
Right.
And but unlike Nigeria, they've always had the statistics. They're able to judge if it's increasing, if it's reducing. But this is the first report of its kind.
Right.
So until we see, more reports like this, before we can know if maybe the policies we're even trying to put in place are working, if we should do something different about the implementation. We don't have adequate rehabilitation centers, and then there's the stigmatization on all levels in Nigeria.
Right.
So a lot of things push drug users into drug abuse, and even when they're addicts, they don't really have facilities,
recovery centers to help them
come out.
And they mentioned it in
a lot
the
of them,
report.
sorry, a lot of them just go to psychiatric homes. Their parents just send them to psychiatric homes, and then, of course, you see them on the streets after a while, and it's just downward spiral from there.
Here, and another thing, she's dropped out of the race now. She's no longer there, but Auntie Ezekwesili, she released her 48-page manifesto, and a part of that manifesto, she was looking at the healthcare. She promised that over a 10-year period, she would somehow provide universal healthcare across the country for all Nigerians. Yeah. Now, the thing is, if you look at this report, they mentioned the costs, not just the stigmatization of drug abuse, pushing them away from getting access. The cost is very, very high as far as treatment is concerned.
Yes.
One of the issues with our healthcare sector is funding. Yeah, as Wede has just mentioned now, funding is an issue. I don't know how the federal government is going to be able to provide universal healthcare across the entire country when they have a funding issue. I mean, look at this report. I thought this report was paid for by the government. It was paid for by the European Union.
Imagine that.
Yeah, so
and yet we have, like you said, it's a very good point you noted. The fact that the federal government does not apply the budgets, apply priority to these areas of health and education.
Exactly.
Those are the two major areas that are lacking, and the two most important, if you ask me.
Here's another surprising thing that I found out. As far as the where is this? I had the geopolitical zones. Yeah, they said the highest past year prevalence of drug use was found in the southern zones, say in the southeast, southwest, and south-south zones. They said the range was between 13.8 to 22.4%, compared to the north, which was between 10.1 to 14%. Now this kind of surprised me because I don't know if you guys remember, there was it was last year.
Yeah.
They already said they found those
problems.
Yeah, they already said they found those 3 million bottles of tramadol in the
bottles of codeine.
Codeine, excuse me.
On the streets of states in the north.
In the north, and they had this what was it now? They had this conference, this northern conference, where I think a number of governors and healthcare practitioners came through
address the drug issue.
So because of the I mean, it's the illiteracy and unemployment are very high in the north and everything. I've always assumed that it was there, but it was quite surprising to find.
Yeah,
according to this report.
According to this report,
the southern states have like 13. They have like a 22.4% more use of illegal drugs, drug abuse than the north, where it was about 14%.
I thought that was quite surprising.
It was quite surprising.
And then get this, another thing they added here. They said these states, Yobe, Imo, Bayelsa, Rivers, and Lagos, were ranked as the states where it was more difficult to access treatment for drug use disorders. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how Lagos falls into that.
It was quite surprising.
Yeah, because
how many facilities do we have in Lagos for rehab? How many rehabilitation centers do we have? How equipped are psychiatric homes, our psychiatric hospitals?
That's the thing. I think the numbers are pretty low, and if anything, Lagos would probably have more if you compare to other states. I don't have the figures. You mentioned parents sending kids to psychiatric homes for treatment,
instead of addressing the proper issues
themselves. There's also the talk of, I think the report also mentioned that a number of people also went to pharmaceuticals. So you're just trying to go over the counter to walk into a pharmacy and try to get treatment. So it's a massive issue. I really hope, I've tweeted this or retweeted. I really want everybody to take a look at this report. It was very comprehensive. There are a number of things they went through on this. So it's really good to see this finally come out.
All right. So Sheldon says, so a region that has legalized drug use as cannabis comes here to tell us that 10 million people here that use cannabis are abusers. It's okay, he says. And then we have a message from Biodun. Biodun says, why won't we have a drug problem? One needs to constantly be sedated to live in this society. Biodun, while we understand where that mindset is coming from, it's still an abuse problem.
It is, Biodun.
It's completely illegal. AIE says, what is the economic impact of these numbers?
Okay, as far as the impact, I mean, look at the fact that we cannot get our healthcare facilities working to be able to treat these people. If you talk about lost productivity, also another part of the impact, really quickly, Valentine is wrapping me up very, very quickly. They were looking at the impact in terms of affecting jobs, affecting families, violence, a number of other things. So the impact is heavy. Please read the report. It's pretty good. And Wede of Afrinvest.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on to discuss.
And thank you for listening to Lagos. Coming up next, we have an interactive session with our friend Chidi Kalu, who's coming in to talk about real estate. And then after that, we'll go into detailed analysis of our newspaper stories inside of Freshly Press 91 7:30.